Let me use this.
Go get it for her.
Huh?
Yeah, go get it for her.
Okay. All right, hold it up for a second. Yeah. Hey, Bob. Hold it up for a second, man. Those bridges are horrible.
Look at, you going back outside?
Yeah.
Bring my pillow. I left it in the car. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the City of Joliet special meeting for special city council meeting, I should say, for April 16th, 2020. We'll have a roll call.
Mayor Odekirk,
Here.
Councilman Dickinson,
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Here.
Councilman Hug,
Here?
Councilman Morris,
Here.
Councilman Mudrin,
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman, here. Councilwoman Reardon,
I keep track of the speakers.
Here.
Councilman Turk.
Here.
Next is the continuation of the public hearing for Council Memo 222-20, a resolution approving and authorizing execution of a pre-annexation agreement for 1,260 acres with Eastgate Logistics Park Chicago LLC for Compass Business Park.
Thank you. All right, a little bit before we start, I think the consensus is here, and I just want to check with the four at home. We should be able to finish up with the callers tonight. It should take us to around 9 o'clock. So I know there's council people that have follow-up questions with North Point or with staff. And then I know there's council people that are gonna wanna make statements. So my thought process is, we finish up tonight, we'll let it digest, come back tomorrow at 5:30, and then finish this up with the questions, and then probably with a vote. And for the four at home, are you you okay with that? Can you make it or not?
I'm I'm fine.
This is Sherry, I'm good.
This is Betty, I'm good.
Yeah, this is Don, I'm good.
Okay, that's what we'll do then, so yes.
I just have one thing too. I'd like to thank Bicentennial Park for making these special masks for all the council. So if you hadn't been to your mailbox yet, they made some red, white, and blue masks for us to wear. So just so everybody knows, I want to thank them for thinking of us.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're ready to start then.
First caller is Donnell.
Is it who?
Donnell.
Good evening, this is Mayor Odekirk Donnell. Can you state your name, address, and your comment, please?
My name is Donnell Cole. I live on Arbor Lane in Crest Hill. I'm in support of North Point. My primary occupation is commercial banking. In addition to that, I serve as a board member on the South Suburban Region Black Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I was one of the few people that was able to visit the facility in Kansas City and do some vetting of the company North Point itself. So from a business aspect, I would like to say that I think if there's anyone that's going to come in and do some development of this land that needs to be developed, I think that North Point is a solid, sound, financially company who can take on that task. I believe that we already know that there is a demand there with the expansion of the intermodal that in turn causes expansion of warehouse space need. So it's either we get a financially sound company to come do it, or we have numerous other less financially sound companies coming asking for tax abatements, TIF financing to do numerous projects. In addition to that, I believe that the infrastructure issue is an issue. I believe it's a city issue. But however, I give kudos to North Point, who have stepped up and has committed to putting some of their dollars towards fixing that issue in itself, which with the bridge, that should alleviate some traffic, not only from North Point, but from other areas as well, flowing into the city of Joliet.
Thank you.
Those are my comments.
Thank you.
Next caller is Juan.
Good evening, Juan. It's Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and your comment, please?
Yes, my name is Juan Cuellar, Cuellar. I live in 14426 Independence Drive, Plainfield, Illinois. I've been living in Will County for over 15 years. I approve, and I hope the City Council takes serious consideration approving this also. I am for development at North Point Compass area. I am a union bricklayer and have been for over 18 years. My skill not only provided the chance to move to Will County, it provided me to put my daughter through college, raise two younger children in this area, and I am one of the individuals who built the previous existing projects all in that area. Everyone tells me, how would you like one of these big behemoths in your backyard? I do have one. We just erected over 1 million square foot warehouse for Diageo Beverage Company, alcohol beverage company here in Plainfield. I know what it's like. I know what the truck traffic is like, but I also know the development and the jobs it creates. It's bigger than just an aesthetic point of view to what some of the people in the area are against, and I know they're opposed. I understand their gripe, but myself, I can speak for myself. I can speak for my neighbors who are also in the building trades, electricians, plumbers, pipe fitters, iron workers. You name the trade, they're part of these developments. They're able to put their kids in school. They're able to provide a suitable middle-class living lifestyle for their families. So we do not just put these boxes up and leave. We're here to stay. We make roots in Will County. We love this county, but these jobs provide for us and our families. So again, I mean, if the city council can really take hard consideration, I mean, this development would help numerous families like it has mine for the past 18 years.
Thank you.
Our next caller is Nicole.
Good evening, Nicole. It's Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and your comment, please?
Hi, I'm Nicole Skiniotis. I'm a lifelong resident of Will County. I grew up on Ridge Road where my elderly parents still reside. I've walked, biked, and ran most of the roads North Point plans to build on. I can't imagine what this will look like on full build. I went to school in Manhattan Schools and Joliet High Schools. I've graduated. I went to East, I went to Joliet Central, and I graduated from JJC. I have 3 sons who have been at JJC. In high school, Joliet was where you went to hang out. My entire life, I've traveled to Joliet from Manhattan, Elwood area for shopping, doctors, movies, etc. I just want to kind of let you know that I'm very connected equally to the Manhattan, Elwood, and Joliet area. My trips to Joliet now take double what they used to. I'm worried if my twin sons currently go to JJC, and there's really no great way to go. I currently teach at Wilson Creek School in Manhattan. The playground at the back end, which is a very large playground, is literally only a half a mile from the road that North Point would be at Cherry Hill Road. This makes me ill knowing the pollution that these students will be outside playing in and being subjected to. I have hit many nasty potholes along the road, one of which this last winter, which I've seen it filled 3 times now, dented the rim on my Chevy Suburban car, and as I hit it, it made me swerve into the other lane. Luckily, no one was coming, but it ruined the rim of the tire. That's how bad the pothole was. So obviously, these semis are tearing apart our roads. 4 to 5 years ago, 2 of my sons were in my Suburban with me. We were ran off the road on 52 by a semi. It's obviously 52 is a 2-lane road. He ran me off into the ditch. He passed me, and he was in my lane, and I was in the ditch. It was so close, I was expecting him to hit the back end of my car. I'm sure many people have several stories of these bad accidents or near misses, and I can't even imagine how many more we're going to have. North Point is terrible for our area. It's already terrible to Center Point. We certainly don't need more semis driving where they aren't supposed to. There's no surefire way to stop them. I don't care what loop you have, what extra routes you give them, the extra 50-some entrances to what they said yesterday or the other day. You mean to tell me these semis aren't going to be traveling all over the place and having more issues? This basically, to me, comes down values of what's right and wrong. And this is profoundly wrong on so many levels. We, all of Will County, are your people. North Point, they aren't your people. We are. The people who voted for you and want you to make the best decision. The best decision they're asking you to say is just say no. And please listen to them. Listen to all of us. Do you want to be the ones who kind of, the sentence that comes to my mind is the ruination of an era. This has been an era of wonderfulness in Joliet, Elwood, and Manhattan, and all the things that we've had that have made this a nice place to be. Please vote no against North Point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Katie is on the line.
Good evening, Katie. It's Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and your comment, please?
Hi, my name is Katie. I'm a resident of Joliet. I do not support North Point. Businesses such as North Point present their heavily edited speeches, making empty promises to help our communities. Their word means nothing. They do not have our best interests at heart. I don't believe they have any heart in this project at all. It is all about money. Our neighborhoods will be demolished. Our roads will further deteriorate and be more congested with semi-traffic. Our small town communities will vanish along with our values and beliefs. This project is a project that will make the rich richer, and we will be left with nothing but memories, just like Wilmington, that was affected by a similar company just a couple of short years ago. Families were run out of their homes so they could be demolished. Land was covered in concrete to facilitate gigantic warehouses that brought in minimum wage jobs and left our towns wondering what we get in return. The answer is nothing. We will get nothing in return. Stand up to these people, use your voice, and please vote no to North Point. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Joe is on the line.
Good evening, Joe. It's Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and your comment, please?
Yeah, my name is Joe. I'm a retired union tradesman. And the existing infrastructure is inadequate. Interstate 80 and 55 are already overburdened. Increased semi-trucks and the daily employee commuting will only make a dangerous situation even more dire. The local roads, Manhattan Road, Off-Road, Route 52, are all two-lane roads and could not support the employee and delivery vehicles. Who would pay for the upgrades to these roads to 4 lanes with turning lanes and traffic control lights? How many of these entrances would be dumping traffic onto the local roads? How can Joliet provide water and basic services to Compass when their water supply is being rapidly depleted? I think build out Center Point, BNSF, and the Union Pacific intermodals. The socioeconomic benefits are non-existent. North Point is hoodwinking the city of Joliet, and you will rue the day if you vote to approve this project. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Our next caller is Melissa.
Hello, Melissa, it's Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and comment, please?
Hello?
Hello, go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Melissa. I am a resident of Joliet. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Everyone else's speeches about saying no to North Point were amazing. I hope you truly let all of that sink in and make the right choice. And I just want to say, please, please, please say no to North Point. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's the last caller I have right now.
Okay.
How many do we have?
59, I think. When they go quick like this, it takes a minute to re-up.
Yep.
I don't have any name, but I have another caller.
Yeah, no, okay, that's fine. Ready?
Next caller.
Hello, this is Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and your comment, please?
Yes, my name is Al Penn. I'm a 20-year property owner in Will County and a principal partner of Johnson, Penn and Shaw, otherwise known as JPNS. We're a municipal and management consulting firm, and my conclusions are based on the trip I took to North Point's Industrial Campus in Edgerton, Kansas on March 13, 2020. From my point of view, there are a lot of impressive things about North Point's Edgerton Logistics Park in Kansas City that I can speak to, but the first thing that I want to say clearly is that the most impressive thing about North Point development is that they're looking to always make the most impressive impact within the community that's possible. In other words, they seek to be a great community partner in the context of a long-term relationship with the community that they operate in. One of the first things that you see is a brand new roadway, which is primarily dedicated to truck traffic entering and exiting the campus, which is south of Interstate 35. It's a 4-lane dividable highway with a modest amount of traffic moving toward the 13 million square feet of developed industrial space. And they do have turnarounds that will limit and eradicate the unnecessity of trucks going into any type of residential or business area. There are no traffic jams, no moving traffic, nor congestion. There's a free flow of trucks entering and leaving the campus, and is buffeted by a no-truck highway, which will provide a thoroughfare for local residents. As with anyone moving into your neighborhood, either as a resident or as a business, anyone will have a concern about the physical aesthetic quality of the property in question. There are clean lines to each logistical location, and it's impeccably landscaped. The logistical park peacefully coexists with adjacent farmland and other rural businesses within that area. Based on my individual assessment, North Point has purposely intended to go out of their way to make sure that their local logistical campus is throughout and not obtrusive to the residents and commercial neighbors. And clearly understanding that it would be prudent not to just stop with its campus, North Point has gone beyond the norm to build an outstanding residential area with an owner-occupied townhouse development as well as single-family housing that has the best quality standards in its construction. This is a standalone residential project that is north of its campus. They've also brought in commercial developments such as a grocery store, drugstore, bank, hotels to help support a potential growing tax base. This is supported with nearly 250 new home construction permits on average the last 2 years. This is also supported by the construction of a new state-of-the-art high school. The high school is funded primarily by the decision of local elected officials' decision to support this project and projects like Compass Business Park. In essence, North Point answered the call to help the town of Edgerton have a bedroom community feel where residents can live, work, and shop within a 5-minute proximity. As industrial development normally goes, this type of community planning and development is not the norm and basically unheard of. The indirect economic impact of the Edgerton Park has even had an effect on neighboring community Gardner. They share the new school with the city of Edgerton. Development has jump-started in Gardner with a new grocery store, banks, a hospital, medical center, among other things. Because of the logistical park, none of this would have ever happened. I spoke with many of the workers in their facilities. I intentionally asked them what they were making. The common answer was given over $60,000 per year, plus benefits and a full-time capacity. The overtime was consistent. This was done with North Point making sure that they would bring the right relationships with their industrial clients to ensure that well-paying jobs would be one of the foundations and building blocks for the success of the project and for the project of the communities of Edgerton and Gardner. But North Point didn't stop there. In changing economic climate, there's been growing discussion of how do you grow a labor force to support a growing region and sustainable economic footprint. And an initiative that I wish would happen more in the
On this caller is Albert.
Good evening, Albert. It's Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and comment, please? Good evening, Albert. State your name, comment, please.
My name is Albert Shaw. I am sending testimony in support of the City of Joliet building and maintaining a long-term relationship with North Point Development and the Compass Business Park. I am the chair of the Economic Development Commission in University Park in eastern Will County, which has a population of 7,000. University Park is home to the old Governor's Gateway Industrial Park, a 3,000-acre park that has become the University Park Technology Center. I have promoted economic development in this region for 35 years, and I have negotiated a number of redevelopment agreements and deals with Fortune 500 companies. Many of the comments I have heard in 6 hours of testimony are simply from anti-development NIMBYs who want to protect a long-gone way of life or extract superinflated prices for their land. I think that the county exec has a lot of nerve trying to block this project because he can't sell North Point his land at that ridiculous price. The Joliet City Council cannot and should not accept resistance that comes from fewer than 300 non-residents as it decides this matter. You have a greater responsibility to the nearly 150,000 people who live in your city. I have witnessed the completion of the Act 294 and 94 corridor with resistance. I've seen Will County reach the top 10 in our country's population growth numbers with resistance. I saw Canadian National buy the old EJ&E to improve north-south operations and to help alleviate rail congestion with a lot of resistance. The Chicago metro region is the primary transportation bottleneck in the whole of the United States, averaging 3 to 4 days to move freight, and sometimes people through this region. North Point is an asset, bringing investment capital into our region, where disinvestment has been rampant. There have been many failed attempts to build a third regional airport, and I-355 needs to be connected to I-65 in Indiana. So today, the economy is in a state of free fall. Only developments with their backing locked in have been able to continue. Any developments that are not capitalized have seen and will continue to see a dramatic slowdown. Many companies will rethink their supply chain networks, but they won't abandon them. They'll be changed. In this region, the city of Joliet is in position to take advantage of the tremendous distribution links that are already present here. Supporting and nurturing a win-win relationship with North Point can dramatically improve the quality of life in the city and in the entire region. Your current antagonists are people that have lived on this land, in some cases for more than 150 years. I recognize that they don't have a fair market value for their land. That's a major reason for their animosity. But the development force has already left their farm. For local governments, there's a responsibility to protect the needs of all of its citizens, and sometimes the needs of the many may outweigh the needs of the few. I am humbly asking that this august body lends its support to North Point development and takes advantage of this opportunity to grow together during these troubled times.
Thank you.
We have Sandra on the line.
Good evening, Sandra. It's Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and comment, please?
Good evening, Mayor. My name is Sandy Smith. I would first like to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you today. I don't come to you with statistics today. I come to you today with a plea from a homeowner uncomfortably close to the footprint of this proposed project. My family and I have been residents of Will County for over 15 years. We live in a neighborhood that will be closest to the proposed North Point development. When we chose where to build our home, we came to the area with hard-earned money, with dreams of starting and raising our family here. This was never intended to be our forever home, but memories were made and bonds with our community were made, and pride in our area has kept us here thus far. I do fear what North Point will bring to the area. I fear the pollution, the proximity to our children's schools, the increased traffic, our already overburdened infrastructure, and the likelihood of a rapid increase in crime are a few of my biggest concerns. Over the past few weeks of having to stay home, you realize more than ever what a home means to you. It is our safest place. I ask you to think about what home means to you, and if this development is what you would support in your own backyard. I have been incredibly surprised by the number of people I have spoken with, many within Joliet. They have no idea about this project. Please don't push this through, comforting yourself with the idea that there isn't much opposition. A large portion of your residents simply don't know, and I feel they need to be informed to get a true picture of the true opposition, not having this blindly pushed through behind their back. I would like to express my disappointment with continuing the meeting in this fashion. I feel this is truly unfair to those that are informed in Will County. The problems in the world are far bigger than the need to hold this meeting at this time. There are likely so many people that would have attended these meetings, but not having the tools or the knowledge to do so have now quieted them. I realize Joliet is going to be facing financial troubles quickly with the recent closures of area businesses. Realize that you are not the only city affected. Everyone in the country has been negatively affected by what's happening. Pushing this meeting through at a time like this is, in my opinion, very irresponsible. And I ask that you do not let a time like this and a check from North Point influence you and negatively change the Will County area forever. I would like to be clear that I am not opposed to development in the area, but I feel there are far better choices for responsible development that can complement this beautiful area, not taint it forever. With North Point a possibility here, my family and I have talked about the possibility of needing to leave what we know is home, likely for a fraction of what we bought it for. Finally, I ask you to think of the hardworking families that occupy this area, the ones that are proud to call this area home, the ones who have put their life savings into a place to call home, the very same people you vowed to represent, and those of us who will be affected the most. Please stand up for us and vote no to the North Point project. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Next caller is Maureen.
Good evening, Maureen. It's Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and comment, please?
Sure. Maureen Broderick, born and raised in New Lenox, lifetime resident of Will County for over 60 years. I am first going to tell you I am not in support of North Point. I live in an area south of New Lenox that has nothing but constant traffic flow from the existing traffic from the trucks right now that go from 52 to Schweitzer to Delaney up to Schoolhouse. I'm in a farming area where we shouldn't have trucks. We have nothing but problems with trucks trying to get out of our subdivisions. I'm currently concerned about the level of transportation issues on Laraway. I've been a school board member, as I'm sure most of you recognize my name. I'm on the Joliet Junior College Board. I've been on the board for over 18 years and represent 7 counties. And my concern is Route 53 in Laraway. both with the traffic problems that we've had currently. The construction there is horrible. Mayor Bob, I've talked to you several times about the issues. Brandon Road, when I try to get to JJC meetings, it's constantly blocked, blocked, blocked. You can't get through. 15 to 20 minutes waiting sometimes at the intersection. Representative Minor, funerals. Can't get funerals. People going to the funeral homes cannot get to the funeral homes on time for the veterans because of the delay. They can't even get a time frame to get to those funerals. I am concerned because of everything that's going on with the lights that we had to install on Laraway to get our school buses out onto Laraway. 80 is a nightmare. If you can't go Brandon Road, as I try to do, and you try to go 80 on 53, it's a mess. Trying to get on Interstate 80 with just the current traffic of the trucks is horrible. Scares us. I started driving on Interstate 80 when I was in high school in the 70s. And to date, there has been nothing done to help repair the status of I-80. Mayor Odekirk, you took the position of putting the sign up. Thank you. It made us all aware of what 80 was. 80 is definitely the back and forth of the east and west for deliveries of everything. It's our main thoroughfare. If 80 isn't fixed, why bring in something new to add more traffic problems? As a JJC trustee, I sit on the board with us having problems with our students getting there, accidents for our students, our administrators, our teachers, and even us as trustees have run into accidents. You know, I see that we have 2 RNs that are on your board. We are here for the safety of our children, of everyone. I am concerned about what is really the concern of you as a councilman. Mr. Hugg, you keep saying, keep this a safe community with quality services for all residents. Family first, family always. This is something that should be stated at all times when you decide to do anything with this North Point situation. Because if this is quality of life, no, it's only a temporary situation. You're going to add more problems. Creating this road that you're going to do to divert the traffic is not going to help. Why did people move out here? They moved out here because the quality of life was better. And I've been a lender, a mortgage lender for over 40 years. I am in 50 states. 50 states. I've watched things of this nature happen and develop. And what happens? You erode the value of people's homes by putting something like this into the situation. This is not what Will County is about. Will County is the fastest growing community, but it's growing because people want to move here, because it's a good community. Don't put a negative impact of North Point in here that's going to defray from that. And then I look at the other situation too. Mr. Turk, you create additional quality of life projects with residents on flooding and other life safety concerns. This is a life safety concern, putting that North Point in here. I look at all of the things that you guys have out here. We have nurses on the board. We have insurance agents on the board. I'm sure you've seen lots of accidents.
Our next caller is Audrey.
Audrey, this is Councilman Larry Hogg. Please state your name, address, and deliver your message, if you would, please.
Hello, my name is Audrey Mostello, and I am a local resident of New Lenox for the last 15 years. Thank you for having me, and I would like to point out that I find the timing incredibly calculated and manipulative of this meeting and the approach to which you're holding it. I am a healthcare worker and also a mother of 3 kids who are home, and I know how distracted and overwhelmed people are right now. I am opposed to the North Point development. I think that the risks outweigh the benefits for those people who live in the area that will be impacted most. I hope that you will do the right thing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Councilman, just point out, the mayor told me he was expecting a call from the governor's office, so he may be a little bit predisposed for this. So certainly continue.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Next caller is Laura.
Laura, this is Councilman Larry Hogg. Please state your name, address, and deliver your message, if you would, please.
Yes, my name is Laura Acevedo. I live in Leyland Bridge in Manhattan. I am a simple mom. I am a healthcare worker that drives us across 5 times a week. And I am opposed to North Point for many reasons. One, as a mom, I'm very very worried about the safety of the kids getting to school, about parents getting to work, the amount of traffic on our small roads, clogging traffic. We already see it at 53 and Laraway. Many employees from Silver Cross complained they have to find new ways to get to work. I'm concerned about devaluing our homes. I moved out here specifically for a small community, farmland, stars at night, birds singing, and I feel North Point is going to destroy all of that for us. I lived in an area to the east that wasn't safe, had to lock your doors, had to keep your garage closed, couldn't leave your bike out. I'm not looking for an environment that repeats what I grew up in. Really looking forward to staying here and retiring, but North Point would really put a damper on any retirement plans for me to stay here in Manhattan. So I hope that this board decides to do the right thing, wait for the traffic study, look at what it's going to do to these small communities, make the right decision, and not be known for the village board that ruined several communities by one fell swoop of bad vote. So please take that into account. Think of the children, think of the safety, think of the traffic, and please wait for the traffic study. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Jerry.
Jerry, this is Councilman Larry Hugg. Please state your name, address, and go ahead and deliver your message, please.
Hello, my name is Jerry Vaughn, and I live in Jackson Township and have for the last 21 years. I was born and raised in Joliet and lived there for about 30 years. Please do what is right and vote no to North Point Compass Business Park. With federal and state funding and budget shortfalls in the billions and trillions, in times like nothing any of us have seen before, how could you think about approving a project of this scope with such an uncertain economy? Companies and food processing plants are closing. These road and infrastructure improvements won't happen anytime soon or if ever. I don't like leaving the lives of everyone in this area to your judgment. It took 18 years to finish the I-355 southern portion after money was delayed and litigation during better times. Nothing is certain. The roads are not repaired timely enough now. Our roads are already overloaded and cannot take this. Even with the closed loop system, those trucks still have to get to this loop via these roads. They don't just get dropped onto it. I don't understand why you think truck drivers are going to take a longer route and pay a toll just to get to this loop. It's a fantasy when they have so little time and money as it is. No one out here wants to live by this project. We already see how these warehouses keep up their landscaping, how great their night sky lighting works, and the noise. We didn't move here for this, and our area and farmland will be ruined. We all as citizens have been promised money for schools from the state lottery. We see how well that worked. Although different, just highlighting their promises are always broken. It's just a carnival barker selling point. Most people in this area already travel to New Lenox, Mokina, Frankfurt to spend their money so as not to travel under the tunnel of death, which is Route 53, or across the Jenga Bridge, Brick Street, because the Brandon Road Bridge is closed and they fear for their life on I-80. The unions that are in favor of this project even posted a billboard warning you before crossing the Des Plaines River Bridge, but it seemed to disappear when word came out for this project. I wonder why. Not in their best interest and always about the money. Spend your resources helping warehouse workers for justice in their issues. If warehouse space is needed, fill up Center Point, or please find another option where you already have land you don't have to steal and it doesn't affect so many citizens and schools. If so many residents said they were in favor of this project, why are they not calling to promote it? The only callers have been workers, unions, and companies, most not even from Joliet or Will County, and will benefit on your approval. Again, always about the money. Those skilled union workers make good money and will always be here and have plenty of work that you can provide, such as the Hobo Bridge, the Downtown Hotel, fixing Brandon Road Bridge, and the Rock Run property. Why do you care so little about local residents that will be so close to this future eyesore? Do you have to be the savior for your residents, skilled workers, and unions that need you less? Our villages and schools don't want North Point's money or would have approved it when we had the option. Our officials listen to us. You wonder why people have no faith that elected officials are not bought and paid for. It looked obvious there was nothing we could say to change your mind. It looked very disrespectful. We are fighting for our lives, kids, homes, and the area we love, hoping that we can be the one person that will say something that will resonate and make you realize we don't want this. This project is something we don't want, and we should be able to vote on it as tax-paying citizens. We may not be able to vote for you, but believe me, we will remember what you do and voice our opinion to everyone and anyone who will listen. Don't steal people's land and livelihood. Leave our property alone, sign our boundary agreement, say hell no, and send North Point back to Kansas and send Toto with them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Charity's on the line.
Charity, this is Councilman Larry Hugg. Please state your name, your address, and go ahead and deliver your message, please.
Hello, Council. My name is Charity Collins. I am a Will County resident, a parent of 2 children, a union member, and the wife of a union member. Finally, I am a public school educator. I am here today to urge the Council to vote no on this extremely important issue. First, I'd like to discuss again some obvious factors. The infrastructure of the roads and the property values. This is sure to have a negative impact on both. These issues have been brought up many times by many of your constituents in the last few days. While I realize that I am repeating the concerns, I believe it is necessary. Next, I'd like to express a more critical concern. As I said, I am not only a parent, but a public school educator. This is where the core of this debate hits me. As I sit here supporting my students in this time of the COVID crisis, it is this issue that is breaking my heart. I am speaking about my concern for my own children, for Manhattan's children, for Elwood's children, and those who are sworn to protect Joliet's children. The goal of the council should be to do what is best for the future of the community, correct? Who do you think the future is being decided for? As a teacher, it is appalling, it is frustrating, it is horribly unexplainable, and most of all, it is terrifying to me that you would even consider voting against the recommendations by the area school boards. You have openly and publicly received their opposition to this project. Laraway School in Joliet included. They have stated, please vote no. There are groups of professionals that have taken their ultimate vested interest and responsibility in protecting our kids in mind. They look at all of the factors, economic issues included. They stay up at night thinking about what is best. They consider what types of things that might provide school funding, how they will keep students safe on the walk to school. Will our kids be able to play outside? How can they provide environments where they do not agitate complex medical issues of our students? This is what local educators and school boards are continually thinking, and this is where their recommendations have come from. They are asking you to protect their students. The area school boards are united in calling for a no vote. Lastly, I am also the wife of a proud Local 134 union electrician. My husband literally earns his livelihood from development. Our household supports skilled union work, however, not at the expense of doing something that will destroy the future of children. We support economic growth, but not at the expense of the destruction of local communities. And we support opportunities to provide jobs, but never over the safety of residents. During this pandemic, this meeting was held despite being asked to postpone it in a time that is seeing the world in a state of uncertainty, when people are trying to focus on keeping their families from contracting a deadly disease, and still they came out in droves, in hundreds, to fight against this project. What does this tell you? We know you are legally required to hear the comments, but my hope is that you are listening to the people, listening to your conscience, and overall listening to those who are trying to protect the ones who are too young to know what their future holds. Your duty is to vote no to North Point. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next we have Amber.
Amber, this is Councilman Larry Hugg. Please state your name, give your address, and then go ahead and deliver your personal message, please.
Hi, I am a resident of Will County and a Joliet taxpayer. I am also a mother and a teacher and a wife of a union member as well, and I strongly oppose this development and would like for you to vote no.
Thank you.
Next caller is Matt.
Matt, this is Councilman Larry Hogg. Please state your name, give your address, and go ahead and deliver your message to the council, please.
Good evening, Council. My name is Matthew Tigalar. I'm a Will County resident. I am a union Local 1 iron worker. My wife is a union teacher as well, and we are new parents. We moved into Will County to get away from all of the busyness and traffic of some of the other surrounding suburbs. I strongly oppose the development for the sake of keeping this area as simple and quiet as it is, for the sake of my child's future and for the sake of my sanity, to be quite honest with you. This is why we moved out here, and I feel that North Point coming in would very much so disrupt the peace and quiet that we have out here. So I thank you for your time, Council. Have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next caller is Noreen.
Noreen, this is Councilman Larry Hogg. Please state your name, give your address, and go ahead and deliver your message to the council.
Good evening. My name is Noreen, and I am a Joliet taxpayer. My proud local union family is in opposition of the North Point development. I have questions for the petitioners. Are they on the line?
No, they are not.
Okay, for the record, I will ask. If the bridge is built as planned, what route will be taken from Chicago Road to the project? If the bridge is not built as planned and Joliet is on the hook for the alternate plan, will they also be on the hook for whatever that costs? Now for my comment. BNSF lifts have been decreasing month over month for nearly a year now. We are on the edge of a deep recession. In your budget meeting on April 14th, you talked about how this is only the beginning of what's coming. You think North Point as a company and its investors won't feel this pinch? You think the logistics industry that is already in decline won't continue to suffer? North Point says they will pay for all these lawsuits. They will pay for condemning people's land. They will pay for every complaint that comes your way. What happens when their investors take their ball and go home? Whose name is on all those lawsuits and condemnation proceedings? The city of Joliet. You can pat yourselves on the back all you want for not cutting off people's water or garbage, while in the background making them responsible for who knows how many millions of dollars in damages with this. You had to pay what, $11 million for the public housing mess? You just lost a lawsuit over Richard Street Bridge? Buckle up, those were small potatoes. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next caller is Michelle.
Good evening, Michelle. It's Mayor Odeker. Can you state your name, address, and comment, please? Hello?
Hello, this is Maddie.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Hello?
Hello, I don't know if I'm on the call because I just heard somebody say this is me.
Yes, ma'am. It's Mayor Odeker. Can you go ahead, please?
Okay, good evening, council members. My name is Madi Perez. I'm from the St. Pat's Joliet area, and I strongly oppose the North Point development monstrosity that is being considered. I find it perturbing that you all have agreed to have this meeting during a pandemic where we have families dealing with the devastation this invisible evil has caused. During a time when we have seniors dying and one of our worst outbreaks here in Joliet at one of the nursing homes. You, Mayor Odekirk, and your minions that follow your lead felt this decision for North Point was important, more important than the lives of your constituents. Shame on you. Unfortunately, I cannot say I'm surprised by your actions because I know firsthand what it feels like to suffer at the hands of injustice where mine and my family's lives were put at risk due to our homes being shot by gangs that are plaguing the Joliet neighborhood. For 20 years, I've lived in my home. I purchased my home in search of a better future and quality of life for my family. Never did I imagine that one day I'd have to fight so hard for our safety and advocate for our rights to have a better quality of life against the very people elected to represent the best interests of their constituents. There are many reasons why I and my family strongly oppose North Point, the visible evil trying to devastate our community. But many of the callers have addressed and mentioned them already, so I will reiterate a few. North Point cannot dictate nor guarantee hourly wages that will be paid. They cannot guarantee permanent employment. They cannot guarantee that their clients will provide benefits such as medical tuition, short-term, long-term disability, 401k to employees. And I know firsthand that this can't happen because I have 20 years in the staffing industry. I've worked in the Elwood area at several companies where I've almost been struck by semi-trailers that have blown the light on Brandon Road. So I know what it is to be in these positions. I've seen these employees be exploited, forced to work overtime, not paid correctly. In fact, most of the companies in that area and most of the companies that North Point will bring in will exploit temporary workforce employees. Please save us the story being pushed about the need for employment. We have more jobs in Will County than can be filled, which is exactly why we rely on Chicago and Indiana, as far as Gary, Hammond, Indiana, to bring in employees. So we're not just dealing with the massive amount of semi-trailers that will be on the road, but we're going to be dealing with an additional probably 4,000 vehicles to get these temp workers out to this area. And with that, we're going to bring gangbangers, drugs, and a lot more devastation to these small towns and Joliet that we don't need. We don't need it. I ask you all to please consider your vote, especially you council members. I know that I don't expect much from the mayor. As we know, in last year, June of 2019, he sent a letter out to the governor extending his support for North Point behind our back. I ask you council members to do the right thing for your people. Terry Morris, Councilman Duck, Jan, you all, I know personally. I ask that you all do the right thing. Don't follow the money. Follow your constituents. This is not a good deal. You've got $70 million in reserves. And God willingly, we're all going to go back to work and do the right thing. We don't need their $2 million. We don't need their monster company. I live right off of Interstate 80. My mother suffers from COPD. She suffers from asthma. My son suffers from asthma. The pollution coming from Interstate 80 to our area is a lot. And I know there's many, many seniors that don't want this, that can't be on this call, that couldn't be at this meeting to express their feelings. And I even spoke to Miss Steeler, who the park in our neighborhood was named after. She does not want this. There's many people that don't want this. So please, before...
Our next caller is Michelle.
Good evening, Michelle. It's Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Hi, this isn't Michelle, it's Jody Bertucci. Is that the right line?
Yeah, go ahead, Jody. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I would like to respectfully address the council on my concerns with North Point. I am opposed to this development, and since I live off Arsenal Road, this would impact me personally. Councilwoman Quillman, you stated earlier this year that you were upset and concerned with the recent development surrounding the former Joliet Country Club or Golf Club. You said that the property was so beautiful it would be a shame to destroy it for warehouses or industrial buildings. Well, I can be honest with you, we feel the same way about Elwood and South Joliet. With North Point's proposal, we have heard that everything is dependent upon the bridge, but we know that bridge is in litigation. We don't know what will happen. So my question is, really, what is Plan B? Is Plan B to have a bridge, or is it to funnel traffic on our already taxed roads that are falling apart?
Our esteemed union members had a really nice billboard above I-80 that stated how dangerous that road was and needed to be repaired immediately. We know that nothing has been repaired as of yet, and the road is still very unsafe to travel. However, the billboard actually came down when North Point's proposal came around. I'm really asking what has changed. Was the road even fixed? We really know the answer to that. Councilman Morris and Councilwoman Gavin, people from both of your districts have come out in full display with their opposition to this project. Betty, you were personally at Knoll Park and listened to Pastor and Will County Board member Herbert Brooks Jr., along with Pastor Warren Doors, who said this project is not the type of thing we want within our area. Both you and Terry also ran your campaign platforms on the premise that we had enough empty warehouses already and enough trucks traveling on our dilapidating streets. I'm just asking, how can we rush into this gigantic proposition without taking time to vet everything out? A decision as important as the city manager is taking a very, very long time to play out. You would think something even bigger than that would warrant careful consideration and planning by all parties involved. And that includes our neighboring towns. The amount of time and commitment to Centerpoint was well over a year and a half, as you all mentioned in prior board meetings, but you weren't even approached by North Point until the boundary agreement with Elwood had to cease. So that would mean that North Point just surfaced to the council a few short months ago. And Mr. Jones, I really appreciate your assistance in getting this meeting on the docket so soon with everything else we are worried about in this city during our current financial crisis and pandemic. I have to be honest, you act as though we should all be happy that this proposal is on the table. It's like you are bringing in Disney World to us. However, we aren't getting the Magic Kingdom over here. It is more like the Tower of Terror. You don't even live in the city you represent, and you said you wouldn't even live in Joliet, but yet you can tell the people in these surrounding towns what would be best for us. You mentioned the walking paths and trees that would be planted by North Point in a prior meeting. I'm asking you, will you be moving your family near this Magic Kingdom? Would you consider walking those paths and sitting in the shade those trees provide while the trucks are whizzing by? I doubt it. But thank you for telling us what we need when we are the people that actually live here. I'm just going to be honest here. Everybody listening knows that this is a done deal. We're not idiots. What infuriates me the most is kind of the lack of transparency in some of the backpedaling that we are seeing now. It would have been nice if everybody was just honest and said we were going to push this thing through to save the city. Why not bring in your neighboring towns and actually sit and talk? And maybe...
Next caller, Kevin.
Good evening, Kevin. It's Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
Joe?
Go ahead, sir.
And I'm from Joliet, Illinois. Let me state for the record that I'm very much against this project and the terrible effect it will have on Will County. It will cause irreversible effects on pollution, traffic, and further degrade our infrastructure that already cannot handle the truck traffic we now have. Route 53, I-80, and I-55 in particular cannot handle the kind of traffic this project will bring, despite an erroneous claim of a mythical closed loop. In the middle of a global pandemic that has far-reaching effects upon our entire country, our city council is debating a completely unrelated development project that can wait. While healthcare workers struggle to keep up with the health crisis in Joliet and Will County, this council's response is to debate this thoroughly unpopular intermodal business park. The decision to move forward with a so-called public meeting that the public cannot attend in person flies in the face of the Open Meetings Act and subverts democracy itself. This is the kind of government decision that makes people cynical about the role of government and its desire to work for its own citizens. The decision to debate this project is reckless and irresponsible. The council should be focused on how it can help ensure the safety of its most vulnerable citizens at health facilities across Joliet. And I will be voting in the next local election with all of this in mind. Let's talk about honor for a moment. I won't presume to tell everyone what honor is. However, let me suggest what it is not. It is not honorable to publicly profess ignorance and skepticism about this development project, but to privately write a letter to the governor of Illinois supporting a bridge that would only be used for this project. It is not honorable to refuse to renew or negotiate a border agreement with Elwood and give its reasons for this decision as a desire to wait for a comprehensive study to be completed. A study that has yet to be completed prior to this meeting, in which city staff recommends approval of a monstrous 3,000-acre warehouse project that will upend the results of any plan. Honor is not to accuse a rival faction on the council as working for this project, while the FOIA makes it clear there was lobbying occurring for the project outside of the public view. Government taxing bodies are dependent on tax dollars to operate. So why would so many in the footprint of this massive project be so against its approval and construction? Because they have the wisdom to see how destructive it would be to the entire county. Joliet City Council needs to look past the carefully planned and controlled visits to Kansas, where they saw only what North Point wanted them to see. North Point's disingenuous concern for the community viewpoint and the pots of gold and rainbows it claims to bring will turn to ash very quickly when the deception is finally realized. By then, it will be too late. This is the moment that will define the next generation of Joliet and the surrounding area. It will also define the political careers of any council member or mayor foolish enough to vote for it. Think wisely before casting your vote. An affirmative vote will have serious political repercussions and ensure that your name is forever attached to this terrible quagmire. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next, we have Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. This is Mayor Oderkirk. Can you state your name, address, and comment, please?
Yes, Michelle Peterson. I have a few questions for the petitioner. Is Tom George available? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
This is Michelle. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please make your comment.
She had asked if Tom George is available.
You're speaking to the city council.
Okay, I will go on with my comments. I will oppose this annexation and urge you to vote no. I want to discuss the loose ends and unclear language I took directly from the agreement. Please get a pen and paper and note the pages I'm referencing. Sometimes we hear things over and over and we don't realize they actually aren't in the agreement. We assume they are. The biggest and greatest concern I have is the Route 53 bridge. I hear over and over, no bridge, no Compass Business Park, but that's not what the agreement states. Look at page 4. If the approvals necessary to construct the bridge are not secured in a reasonable time frame, the parties shall mutually agree to an alternate location for truck traffic to access the property. It doesn't say, as Mr. Hugg stated in a recent email, simply put, no bridge, no building permits. It states the city will find another way. It doesn't say no bridge, no project in writing. Besides, as you know, the bridge should not be in the proposal. It's in Elwood city limits. Page 4 also discusses the condemnation of roads and other jurisdictions. The city developer hereby agree that each will fully cooperate with the other, including consideration of jurisdictional transfers and condemnation. The city will cooperate. Cooperate how? Legally in court? Foot half the bill? Provide an attorney? Will Joliet taxpayers pay to condemn roads and fight legal battles with other villages? It's very unclear and can leave the city and citizens on the hook financially, in my opinion. Pages 6 and 7 discuss roads that they will build initially, and then guess what? Fixing them is on the taxpayer. Page 8, North Point will pay for sewer, well, water, and the treatment plant. It doesn't say they will maintain it. The city and taxpayers will pay when it breaks or needs repairs. More staff, more equipment, more to the city budget. Page 17, North Point will give land for police and fire, but will not build a firehouse or staff it or buy equipment. That will also be left on the city and taxpayer. Another, the taxpayer funds it. Page 12 is a big concern. It talks about oversized infrastructure and money recapture. Pay close attention because it talks about streets, culverts, bridges, sewers, lift stations, water towers, wells, water treatment facilities, and water mains. I believe that whole section talks about, again, the city and taxpayers paying, not North Point. Page 10, developer contribution is $2 million upfront, $6.6 million cap, but look, there's another loose end. The developer has no obligation to pay that contribution for any building where the majority of the square footage is manufacturing, office use, or generates sales tax. Where is it written that this is a diverse development site? Nowhere. It's not clear how much will be office, manufacturing, or other. Page 7, closed loop is promised. But really, it's not promised in writing. It says that an event closes all or a portion of the closed loop for 2 hours or shorter, the city will allow alternative routing. That could gridlock local roads and impede public from getting to the closest hospital. As you just heard, many things are thought to be true and in writing but are not. Be aware, contracts are binding. Read closely before you vote. Demand it in writing. In conclusion, I'd like to say that the money collected from this development will be eaten up by all these points stated, plus more will be needed to be budgeted. The city and taxpayers will be paying for this for years to come. Insist on an agreement that works for the people, for the taxpayers, or send them away. Say no to the agreement that's presented today as it is, because it's not in the best interest of Joliet or the citizens. You're voting on and signing an open-ended agreement. Many factors.
Next caller is Michelle.
Good evening, Michelle. Can you state your name, address, and comment, please?
Hi, my name is Michelle Melhorn. I want to thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I want to start with addressing the current land use and trucking route study being conducted by Will County and funded by us as the taxpayers. Knowing the study is currently underway, why would you consider approving any development of this nature at the current time? Why not wait and see what the results bring? This project will have a major impact on our roads, all roads, city, township, and state roads. Many are already in need of major repairs, but we have been told that funds are currently not available to fix them. So how will they be fixed in the future once traffic has tremendously increased? The project will also take away thousands of acres of rich farmland. Again, why not wait to review the results of the study? Moving forward now will waste every dollar already spent on that study. And are you willing to blatantly throw this money away? Speaking of money, recently you as a city expressed major concerns due to this pandemic. A lot of municipalities are experiencing money issues as well during this tough time. Everyone is. The entire world is. Do you really see North Point and their upfront promise money as a solution to our current problem? I personally don't. I also don't see the future revenue coming close to covering future expenses. Do you remember when Elwood was considering this project? It was discovered that they were in a bind as well, but they chose not to go through with it and try to solve their financial problems in other ways. I ask that you guys do as well. At the beginning of Monday night's hearing, I believe your city official started out by saying the city would receive 33 cents per square foot on build-outs for a maximum of $6,620,000. I thought North Point stated 31 cents per foot in their presentation that very same night. Maybe I heard incorrectly, but if not, that is just one of the many items in this agreement that need to be researched further before you vote. There should be no rush to get this vote in right now. There are plenty more issues and concerns with this agreement in which your Planning and Zoning Commission chose to ignore. Allow me to please list a few. 1, North Point has said that they will not ask for a TIF, enterprise zone, or foreign trade zone status. The agreement plainly reads, quote, "The city shall support the developer's effort to achieve enterprise zone and foreign trade zone status," unquote. Maybe I don't know how to read, but I believe this says North Point will be seeking both the enterprise zone and foreign exchange zone, and you, the city, will support it. In other words, we will support it. My second point was about the beauty of Compass Business Park and how they're saying it's going to be this major beautiful thing. They've previously said that no shipping containers will be double stacked, yet it agrees that you would grant a variation to a certain article of the city zoning ordinance to allow for trailers and wheel containers parking on the short end of a structure in a double deep stacking configuration and perpendicular to both axes of the structure, unquote. Again, this is not what they have verbally stated. And 3, what about the closed loop truck network? The agreement reads, quote, "Notwithstanding anything herein to the contrary, if, in the sole opinion of the city, an event renders or is reasonably expected to render all or a portion of the network incapable of accommodating regular vehicular use for a period in excess of 2 hours, or some other shorter time frame determined by the city shall temporarily authorize truck traffic routing via a mutually acceptable alternative route, unquote. Well, what is that mutually acceptable alternative route? It will be our local roads. May I remind you that on Monday night, North Point did not have a complete answer to one of the council members' questions regarding this alternate route. I feel none of your questions received a full answer that night. I just ask you to beware because North Point's verbal words do not match their written word. There are many other discrepancies that I could mention, but my time is almost up. It is my...
The next caller is Jill.
Good evening, Jill. It's Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
Yes, hi, this is Jill Bishop. I'm a lifelong resident of Will County. I'm in opposition of North Point and would like you to vote no. I have lived in Will County my entire life and have been an educator in the Joliet area for the past 15 years. My family resides less than 1 mile from where this horrible business park is proposed to be built. I may not be a Joliet resident, but this proposed project will be closer to my house than any of your own property. And I'd like many of the other callers today. I am worried about my students and my family if this project goes through. It will be there for them in 20 years if you vote yes. I'll tell you, more and more warehouses possibly vacant, let alone the air, noise, and light pollution for all those who actually live in the area. How many lives are you willing to allow to get ill and die for this project? Many people have mentioned all of the items that are wrong about this pre-annexation agreement. Well, I'm just going to mention a few more. As a commuter to Joliet, I use I-80 and go over the Tearing Bridge twice a day. I used to take Arsenal Road, but I had to stop for hours on almost a weekly basis due to an accident that took up all 4 lanes and the median, like their bridge is supposed to have. If this would occur on the Magic Bridge, where the trucks are going to drive, well, I'll tell you, they're going to go on our roads, which are not designed for them. Once again, destroying roads they can't handle that weight. This will occur. I see trucks driving down local roads that are not approved for on a daily basis. Our roads are falling apart, so let's get those fixed before we even think about this idea. Back to the bridge. There's a lawsuit already. Wait till this is done. Wait till that lawsuit's done before you talk about this project. Keep in mind that you said no bridge means no purpose. Well, obviously, that's been a lie. Keep in mind the lack of continuity with the land. Touching corners is not continuity. Don't forget about the farmland that is currently farmed. If you vote for this, you are saying that you don't care and all those families who have farmed the land for decades can go somewhere else. When it's gone forever. Union jobs. Yes, many union jobs might be used to build these warehouses, but we all know that North Point is not known to do this. Another example of the shady side of this corporation. They just want the money from the occupants and don't care who truly goes into them. The little paying warehouse jobs will be there. They said that themselves, that they can't control that. The money they promised in the agreement will not be seen for almost 20 years. 20 years. You say there is no tips involved, but we know they've done it without one. They will not start now. They will always find ways to get breaks to what their company does, and they will do it in a sneaky way, and I would hate for us to have to tell you, we told you so. Please keep in mind from those who have campaigned on a moratorium in warehouses, and you should not be even voting or even thinking about voting yes. There are some board members in Elwood who supported this. Oh wait, most of them have either moved out of the area or not even on the board. For those who have took campaign donations for this corporation or other groups that have promised money for work, yes, Eastgate and North Point are the same for those who can't connect the dots. Well, shame on you. You have sold your soul to the devil. You cannot ethically vote for this project. This project is just another paid vacation for North Point employees. Look at their corny Christmas videos and post about their company vacations to remote islands after landing big deals. Wait, have any of you been invited to the next vacation? Vote no and think about what your legacy will be. Warehouses or listening to your residents and keeping them safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next caller is Sam.
Sam, this is Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Sam Black. I'm a lifelong resident of Will County. I'm a proud 15-year member of the Carpenters Local Union 174 out of Joliet, the greatest local in the country, bar none. I 100% oppose North Point development. Will County has turned into one of the largest inland ports in North America over the last 10 to 15 years. Warehouse after warehouse has been built all over Will County, many still empty today. I've been going to my local union meetings every month that I've been a member of the Carpenters Local 174. Every meeting we discuss work in the area and that men and women are needed at certain projects. In my 15 years going to these meetings, I never once heard them ask for workers available to build these warehouses, or even mention these warehouses. With Will County turning into the largest inland port, you would think there'd be a bigger demand for workers. That is because these warehouses are built by out-of-town contractors that bring in their own crew of workers. I know the contractors are required to hire a certain amount of local tradesmen, but it's never enough to make a big call out to the local union halls. The North Point project will not empty halls. A small percent of local union members will work these jobs until build-out complete, and then they'll be laid off and move on to the next job. North Point will not be the end-all be-all for union jobs in Will County. They'll be temporarily. I'm glad you all had a peachy little trip out to Kansas City. This happens a lot in the construction industry. When the investors or heads of the companies are planning to do a job site visit, the jobs are all cleaned up. I've been on jobs where we've been paid overtime for so-called beautification. Parts were repainted, signage was corrected, and old beat-up trucks were relocated. While the investors were there, we were told to stay away from their caravan routes. We knew what time and places they would be traveling. North Point planned and coordinated what and who you would see. You were all fed a shit sandwich and liked it. It is sad that during a global pandemic and people are worried about their jobs, health, what the future holds, you continue to push forward.
Next caller is Margie.
Good evening, it's Mayor Oda Kirk. Can you state your name, address, and phone number, or I'm sorry, and comment, please?
Margie Sepon, I live in Joliet. I'd like to begin by briefly summarizing paragraphs 9 and 10 on pages 1 and 2 of the pre-annexation agreement between Eastgate Logistics and the City of Joliet. Paragraph 9 specifies that upon satisfaction of the conditions precedent provided in the agreement, the city hereby agrees to 1. Annex the property, 2. Zone the property I-1, 3. Grant a special use permit for freight terminal development, 4. Grant a variation to allow trailers and wheeled container parking, and finally, and importantly, number 5, collectively, the I-1 zoning, the special use permit, and the variation are hereinafter referred to as quote-unquote zoning. Paragraph 10 provides that the Plan Commission, being the commission duly designated by the corporate authorities for such purpose, has on February 24, 2020, held a public hearing on the petition for the zoning for the property. Section 47-12A of the Joliet zoning ordinance, titled Special Uses for All Industrial Districts, refers back to 47-5.2 for special use permit information. In D of 47-5.2, it provides that all applications for a special use permit shall be heard by the Board of Appeals, with the board having final decision authority in certain instances. These certain instances are not relevant to the issue today. However, paragraph D continues with, in all other cases, the Board of Appeals shall act in an advisory capacity to the mayor and the city council, and that in considering an application for a special use permit, the Board of Appeals shall follow the procedures set forth by the zoning ordinance. The zoning code does provide for the Plan Commission, rather than the Board of Appeals, to initially hear and hold public hearings for special use permit applications in certain cases. However, scrutiny of those certain cases could not occur, since neither the proposed freight terminal location nor the special use permit application submission has been disclosed to the public. As you can see, the application was not provided to the public in the attachments for this meeting tonight. Given this, I pose 2 questions. Did the City of Joliet and Eastgate Logistics skip a step? Should there have been a public hearing for a special use permit held separately by the Zoning Board of Appeals rather than the Plan Commission? We don't know, since again, neither the freight terminal location nor the special use permit application submission have been disclosed. Why is this important? 1, recall in paragraph 9, you as members of the Joliet City Council are agreeing to grant a special use permit should you vote yes to the pre-annexation agreement. And number 2, in October of 2002, the Illinois Supreme Court held in Claren versus the Village of Lisle that hearings for special use permits, as well as for other quasi-judicial hearings, opponents are afforded the right to cross-examine the proponent's witnesses. Without public access to the special use permit application, our right to cross-examine the petitioner has been obstructed. Thus, prior to the vote on this agreement, I request the release of the special use permit application submission, and I request a hearing for this application with the proper board or commission allowing for the cross-examination of petitioner witnesses. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe our next caller is Dick.
Hello, Dick, it's Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Yes, my name is Dick Oikis. I have lived in Will County since 1972. I don't believe this meeting should even be being held at this time, considering the pandemic we are all experiencing. That being said, when you vote, if you vote, I urge you to vote no to North Point. I believe these warehouses should be built along the interstates, as most of them are presently along the interstates, off the highway frontage roads for easy access to the interstates. Some of North Point's property on the proposed development is 8 to 9 miles away from either I-55 or I-80. North Point proposed a closed loop. I believe the closed loop is a joke. Even if all the trucks carrying freight from the intermodal at Center Point to the warehouses stay in the loop, how do they get there? North Point has always said no bridge, no project. Well, there is no bridge, but there is a lawsuit. Then what about the delivery trucks that will go to the warehouses to pick up the freight and then leave and go out on our local underdeveloped roads? What about the employees who work in these buildings? Our roads in Jackson and Manhattan Township cannot possibly handle this addition of traffic. Residents in the area will not even be able to get out of their driveways. North Point started 3 years ago in Elwood, and after much discussion, was rebuffed and told by Elwood that Elwood did not want them. Then they started talking with Manhattan, maybe still are, but have not been well received in Manhattan either. Now North Point is sitting in your laps in Joliet and wants to be your new best friend. Why? Because no one else wants them, that's why. Property in Jackson Township has been acquired by investors and North Point for 10 years now. And since the Elwood and Manhattan options have failed, they headed north to Joliet. Because they had to move north, there was a problem, contiguity. They didn't have it. So the investors over the last 1 to 2 years have bought more property north of Manhattan Road over to Breen Road to get to the other investor-owned property that was already annexed to Joliet. Then we get a proposal for a 103-acre development in the middle of nowhere that was pushed through last fall. That would connect the dots and give the entire project continuity to Joliet. This whole thing stinks from start to finish, and with the amount of opposition to this project from your constituents, local businessmen and women, and local organizations, this should not even be under consideration. Even without North Point, BNSF has announced it wants to increase the number of units they move over the next year from 1 million to 2 million lifts per year. Our roads cannot even handle the traffic we have now, let alone thousands more vehicles per day. The studies and surveys that are being done should be completed before anything is voted on concerning this project. Why is North Point saying they will conduct traffic studies at 59 intersections once 3 million square foot of buildings are built out? If the traffic in these is a closed loop, then why are 59 intersections outside the project in the survey? That's because all these vehicles are going to be in all our roads, and the congestion is going to be unbelievable here. It's simply because the trucks and cars will be coming to Compass Business Park from all directions, and they are well aware that this is what's going to happen. They just don't care. They only want one thing, to build the project so that they can make money. They don't care about it.
The next caller is Lewis.
Hello, Lewis, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please? Say Lewis.
Lewis.
Hello, Lewis? Okay, move on.
We have Katie on the line.
Hello, Katie, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, is this Lewis?
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Louis DeGrasse, and I've been a proud union member for almost 13 years, and I just wanted to start out by saying if this is that great of a project, all the towns would be fighting for this, and they are not. So one of the city council members states that there will be 20 years of union jobs. Hello?
Yes, go ahead, we're listening.
Hello?
Go ahead, Lewis, we are listening.
Okay. Louis DeGrasse. I've been a proud union member for almost 13 years, and I just wanted to start out by saying if this is that great of a project, all the towns would be fighting for this, and they are not. So one of the city council members states that there will be 20 years of union jobs and 100% project labor agreement. We already know that North Point Development pushes non-union workers in the past. For example, in Kansas and in Michigan at the GM plant, North Point uses non-local laborers, and that is not supported by Michigan's GLS building trade. Right after they signed that famous project labor agreement you talk about, they bring in their rack contractors to do the job that is supposed to be union built and breaks that project labor agreement by not paying wage and benefits. So where do you get 20 years of work for union members? And once that warehouse is built, it goes to non-union workers. So you tell us that this is good for the union? It's not. So yesterday, my wife got ran off the road at 6:30 a.m. on Interstate 80 east of the bridge in Joliet by a semi. She was lucky she didn't get hurt. Next time, she might not be so lucky. I sometimes wish she would drive on Route 6 or Arsenal Road to get to work. But these are equally as crowded with semi-traffic and equally as dangerous. And the bridge conditions are nothing to mock people over, Mr. Hug. I just have one more thing to say. If the city council members don't want to represent the citizens of Joliet, then we need to have a recall petition, and some of you need to be removed from office. I urge you to vote no to North Wayne. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Katie on the line.
Katie, it's Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
Thank you. My name is Katie Hunt. I would like to start by pointing out one area where this public hearing falls short, and that is in my right to ask questions of the petitioner, North Point. There's so much information being dissected here, and many of these questions could be answered and cleared up if the public were able to ask them of North Point and then ask clarifying questions if needed. But let's talk about the bridge. There's two bridges that have been discussed in Joliet. The Hobo Road Bridge and the bridge over 53 that connects to Compass Business Park. The Hobo Road Bridge is great. It's a phenomenal idea, you should do it. It's going to absolutely alleviate truck traffic that is existing right now on our local roads. The question I have of North Point is, does your bridge alleviate any current truck traffic? We can all agree that more truck traffic is coming with all of the projects that are already approved and ready to go, including the one to add more warehouses at 53 in Millsdale that was just approved by the Planning Commission. I wonder if the North Point Bridge will help alleviate that truck traffic. Mayor Odeker, you mentioned on WJL this morning that North Point Bridge is a way to manage the growth. I just don't see the logic. Imagine for a minute North Point doesn't build any warehouses, but this bridge gets built because, according to your letter dated June 10th, 2019 to Governor Pritzker, this bridge is an outstanding plan to mitigate future truck traffic congestion within the region. So anyway, imagine North Point doesn't build one single thing on this land, but they still build the bridge. Why would any truck use that bridge? The North Point Bridge would end in the middle of a cornfield, so it would manage no traffic. You also said that the opposition doesn't have anything to worry about if the bridge doesn't get built, which might be true. but it seems to me the city of Joliet would have some things to worry about. The pre-annexation agreement states if the approvals necessary to construct the bridge are not secured in a reasonable time frame, the parties shall mutually agree to an alternate location for truck traffic to access the property. Building permits shall not be approved by the city until such sole access is agreed upon and under construction. This does not say that you are bound to not issue a building permit until you have the bridge. It says you aren't bound to issue a building permit until you and North Point have agreed on an access point. By the city of Joliet, I would most certainly want to know where those other access points could be. If North Point were here, I would ask them that question. Because if I suspect there are no alternate access points, this agreement has backed the city of Joliet into a corner, and now they are part and parcel to a lawsuit suing Elwood to get the bridge, and who knows how many other lawsuits when they don't do what North Point wants. Next, this is being presented to the city as a pre-annexation agreement, and the annexation and zoning do not occur with this vote. Mr. Jones said on April 13th that if the city took positive action on this, it doesn't annex or rezone the property, it sets the stage for that. So when the annexation and zoning do come to a vote, is the city council within their rights and not in violation of this agreement tonight to vote no and end the relationship with North Point? The details of the pre-annexation agreement before you say that by passing this agreement, the city agrees to A, annex the property, and B, zone the property I-1 light industrial. So by agreeing to this agreement, you legally agree to annex and rezone the property. It cannot be undone. So I think there are some things left to clear up before voting on this project. Finally, I'd like to say something to the people who claim the opposition is just a bunch of people from Elwood and Manhattan. These people from Elwood and Manhattan are teachers in Joliet, nurses and doctors in Joliet, students in Joliet, City of Joliet employees, Joliet small business owners and supporters. And in the case of myself and a group of my friends, we have raised over $60,000 over the last 5 years to benefit the Joliet Hospice and Pink Heels of Joliet. When we have been good neighbors to you, we ask that you return the favor. My last point is, why don't you look to places like Beverly Hills and build a Rodeo Drive? I know what you're all thinking. Joliet isn't Beverly Hills. Well, it isn't Edgerton, Kansas either. Thank you.
Thank you.
Colleen is online.
Hello, Colleen, it's Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name and address and comment, please?
Sure. Hi, I'm Colleen. I am calling just to say I fully support all the comments that have been made in the last few days. There are many points as to why this is not the best choice. I think that if this is the fate of Will County, because we already have the largest inland port in the country, then it needs to be a collaborative effort among all of the towns in Will County that this will affect, and not just trying to get who's better piece of the pie to get a cut of the money and not make the best plan for the place that we all live and work and would continue to live in if it can continue to have the charm that it has now. I think that many people in Joliet are not able to speak up because this has been rushed through Joliet and they're not all aware of the plan that sits way on the far south side of their town that many of them never even cross through because there's nothing but beautiful farmland here. I think that there needs to be more discussion and this should not be rushed through. It is not important that it gets pushed right now in the middle of a pandemic. I urge you to say no to North Point. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Adam.
Adam.
Good evening, Adam. It's Mayor Odekirk. Can you state your name, address, and comment, please?
Yeah, hi. My name is Adam Faber. I'm a union member who is asking you to vote no to North Point. I would like to see the agreements providing that union workers will be used for both development and maintenance, because the only thing in the agreement on page 12, section 10, is that the developer has executed a project labor agreement with the Will Grundy Building Trades Council in connection with the development of the property. Nowhere in the wording is maintenance mentioned, so I will not accept the word of Tom George nor anyone else from Eastgate. They have, in the past, violated many union contracts. So this work is just for the development. It is extremely short term, Its warehouses are not complex to build. Have you ever seen a blueprint for one of these projects? How many square feet buildings will be built there? If you want us to have long-term work, fix the infrastructure, and get the manufacturing back in the U.S. Let's be honest, even if this was long-term work, I'd still oppose it. The benefits of the business in no way, shape, or form outweigh the detriments. People will not want to come, visit, and spend money in an area because the crumbling roads will be too filled with trucks. There is not a business need for more warehouses for foreign products, as shown by the many vacant warehouses in Will County for the fact that Center Point is only half built, even though it actually connects to the rail. Even worse, the devastation to the environment and the impact on the local community. There will be no fixing that. The flourishing national prairie, a neighborhood engulfed by the development, and an elementary school downwind will suffer consequences that will never be able to be remedied. And to top it off, our veterans who have earned the right to rest peacefully will have the rest in place desecrated with garbage, noise, and lost truck tracks. Shame on you. There is no dollar amount that could ever justify hurting these people nor our planet. The mayor said that all developments impact people, but this impact will be the annihilation of two neighboring towns. How in the world could you sleep at night knowing for such a small amount there will be a cause of this? The Will County Circuit Court called this meeting shady and a disservice to the public. If you have received any donation from any connected entity or the appearance of impropriety, you should not be allowed to vote and recuse yourself. There is not an ethics ordinance. Please change this pattern. Regain the trust of your constituents and vote no to North Point. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Kevin.
Kevin, it's Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, this is Kevin Berry. I just had a few things that I wanted to speak on this evening. I appreciate the time from you and the council. In my career, I'm in outside sales, industrial sales. I spent a lot of time on roads of Illinois, pretty much all over. And one thing that I noticed as I travel around is the current condition, like everyone else, of the infrastructure that we have in our area, Will County especially. You know, as we all know, and it's been rehashed over and over, the bridge over the Des Plaines River is a monstrosity. It was rated a 6 out of 100. You yourself stated back in February of last year and proposed diverting the traffic off of the bridge with 4x8 signs because you also agreed that it was unsafe. Now here we are about a year later, and we're talking about putting another 5,000 plus trucks down 53. Personally, I am strongly against this project for multiple reasons, but it might be a little bit differently for most people. One of the things that upsets me about this project is not only in the rush manner that it's being pushed through Joliet, but also in the complete waste of taxpayer dollars as we still are awaiting the freight study that's been started as of last year. Spent a ton of taxpayer dollars to put this project through, but somehow we've decided that we cannot wait, we absolutely cannot wait to see what the Will County Freight Study is going to say. We have to push this project through right away. Larry Wall Sr. himself said that this project is going to decimate what is left of Jackson Township as a community. I would urge you to vote no. I think that as far as we need to really question what our priorities are here. We're putting a company from Kansas City eons ahead of our constituents, our neighbors, what our county officials said, elected local officials say, all just to give preferential treatment to a company from out of state. I'm not dumb enough to think that what I'm telling you here in a couple minutes is going to sway anybody's opinion. I'm sure you guys all have, long held beliefs on this one way or the other. We probably won't agree at the end of the day. But I would just ask you to keep in mind that this project is not what it's being made out to be. You've had people on here tonight talking about, and for the last 2 nights, claiming that the long term, the actual jobs in these warehouses are going to be low paying temp jobs. I don't know that I agree with that because in about 10 years, there aren't going to be any warehouse jobs. It's going to be automated. So you're going to have short-term construction jobs that are out there that are going to be gone really quickly. And as has been pointed out, North Point has a real shady history of going back on their labor contracts with local unions. So I don't think it's all been made out to be. I understand the current financial pinch with the city, But for a $2 million payout, we're looking at completely changing what's left of Jackson Township, Manhattan, and Elwood, not to mention Abraham Lincoln. You know, as I drive around for my job, I don't know how many times, 53 south of 80, which, you know, sometimes gets ignored. It's still part of Joliet. Joliet goes south of 80, believe it or not. How many times do you see patch crews trying to throw more hot mix into those potholes? It happens over and over again. And I almost kind of have to think about it, that it's almost like the city of Joliet, constantly seeking more and more revenue in one way or another to patch a hole in their system. I appreciate your time. I urge you to vote no, and I thank you.
Thank you.
William is on the line.
Good evening, William. It's Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
Yeah, my name is Bill. I'd like to start off tonight with some stats. I hope they get your attention. The total number of people that have COVID-19 in the United States is 674,585. The total amount of people that have lost their fight with this terrible disease is 34,458. In Illinois, we have 25,733 people with this, and a total of 1,072 people that are gone way too soon because of this global pandemic. So thank you for spending your time wisely and listening to such a pressing and urgent matter during this uncertain time. It is nice to know that pushing through your political agendas is your top priority. I have lived in Will County for the last 16 years. I am a union electrician, 134, for 21 years. I am all for union jobs, but not when it jeopardizes the health, safety, and future of the residents. I would also like to point out that when we actually had meetings that the public could attend, I think it is ridiculous to bust in union members to support this project. It is my belief that if you do not live in the Manhattan, Elwood, or Joliet area, then you should not have a voice in this. This project sits in my backyard, on our road, and a mile behind my children's school. This directly affects me. It affects the health and safety of my children, and also the roads I drive on daily to and from my union job. This project has repeatedly said it would bring union jobs to the area. This is only true for initial construction. After that, it will employ only minimum wage jobs. North Point cannot dictate who works inside each individual warehouse after it is leased. If you, the city council members, want to grow Will County and bring long-lasting union jobs to the area, then why are you voting to build facilities that only provide low-paying jobs? The only thing that low-paying jobs brings to the community is chasing out the hardworking people who built it up to begin with. So don't fool yourselves into thinking you are doing a service for this area. You are most certainly not. It is not fair to the residents of this area who have invested their time and money to build homes and families just to have a privately owned for-profit company dump a 1,600-acre truck stop in their neighborhood. It seems to me, after listening to North Point over the last few years, that the only people who want it built here are people that do not live here. How is that right? They get all the benefits of North Point, but the tax-paying citizens deal with all the negatives. City council members, put yourselves in our shoes. Would you want this built next to your home? And answer truthfully. Put this somewhere else where it won't destroy so many people's lives. If North Point is such a great thing, they should have multiple communities lining up to have this. But they do not. Council members, why do you think that is? What does this tell you? What are you getting out of it? If you vote yes for this, you will be directly responsible for the demise of multiple communities who vote. And I guarantee you, if this project gets yes vote, we will remember those names who voted for it. So thank you for all the shady politics this has brought. You have been great examples of who not to vote for in the future. And I want you to listen to this next piece really carefully.
Hi, Joliet City Councilors. My name is Claire. I go to Wilson Creek School. Please say no to North Point. Having all of these trucks around my school scare me and make me feel unsafe. Hi, my name is Hayden. Say no to North Point. I have asthma. I have a hard time breathing. More trucks will make it worse. Hi, my name is Carly. I go to Anna McDonald currently. I will start driving in 5 years. Please don't surround me in trucks as an unexperienced driver and risk my life to be able to just get home. Money shouldn't be more important than my life. Thank you.
Thank you.
caller is Neil.
What's the name?
Neil.
Good evening, Neil. It's Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
Yeah, hi, good evening. My name is Neil Muggsy Gallagher. I'm from the United States of America. Thanks be to God. And muchas gracias, senor. Hey, this whole forum, guys, is absolutely disgusting. And as a general rule, I distrust politicians and lawyers, but I really distrust them when I can't look them in the eye when I'm trying to have an open and honest debate with them, okay? So that's the first part. So obviously I'm against this thing. You guys have heard it. I get it. 6,000 more trucks, 53, 59 intersections, whatever. You've heard it, right? Right? We've all heard it. The daily death traps. Welcome to Joliet. I-80 and I-55 corridors, a daily death trap. Congratulations, Mayor. You should be proud. But wait. North Point's here to wave their magic wand with a magical, mythical closed loop and a bridge that's going to appear magically. So these guys are good. I got to hand it to them. So, you know, their talent is stunning. But we do have a traffic study pending, which we're not going to wait for the conclusion. And I have a theory why, guys. I really do. I thought a lot about this. The most highly intoxicated, mentally disturbed degenerate can figure out we got some problems with our infrastructure and traffic, huh? Right? So why do we need to wait for this traffic study? That's my theory, and I think it's probably not too far off. So anyway, the fact that you guys will not wait for this study, only it drips of corruption, and it only it supports the circulating theories that Joliet is bought and paid for by big businesses such as North Point and union money, and that, my friends, is shady. And you know, and bring up the unions. Why don't you let the warehouse unions unionize themselves? Roberto and his guys, they should get to be a union too. So I got some questions from earlier testimony. Do we get a chance to ask questions in this at all? To have a debate? Provide documentation? Do we get any of that?
Yeah, it's public comment. You get to make a comment.
Right. All right, well, let's move on. The mayor of Edgerton, Kansas, this guy's good. Okay, he was pleasantly surprised, Mayor, with an $89,000 raise. I would be too. So, and he's got a thriving town, which my wife, Erin Gallagher, has pointed out what kind of crap hole that is. Congratulations, Mayor. Here's $89,000. Hey, we did get a Dollar General. Congratulations. The liquor store looks real nice. But, and no debt to the community. This guy's good. So this whole thing drips of shady back room, closed door crap that people of Illinois are really, quite frankly, quite tired of. So even if they get the bridge, if you get this mythical closed loop, it's not going to change our quality of life for the residents on the southeast side of your city. Disgusting. This whole thing is disgusting. So anyway, but Mr. Mayor, I did have the opportunity to hear a phone call that you had with my wife, Erin, and that was on November 19th. I happened to take notes that you were on speakerphone. And she said that you had offered, North Point had offered you $5 million for the prison, to which you replied, there's more pressing priorities such as ambulance and police cars, which I applaud. So is that $5 million in there for this upfront money? I heard $2 million this morning on Slocum.
Next caller is Christopher.
Christopher, it's Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please? Hello, Christopher?
Do we have?
Hello?
Hello, Christopher?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, make your comment, please.
Thank you. My name is Chris Rubio. I grew up and spent the majority of my life living in Will County. And I met my wife, who was on the north side. And eventually my hope was to move back to Will County. And however, the development of North Point is seriously making me reconsider this as an option. I strongly urge you to vote no to North Point.
All right, thank you.
Next caller is Michelle.
Michelle, it's Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
Hi, my name is Michelle Markward. I live in Manhattan. Thank you for the opportunity to tell you how much we oppose this project. My husband is a union member and I'm a nurse. We have 3 children and live just a quarter mile east of Cherry Hill Road. It will absolutely break this area. As you previously heard from many of the local families living in this area and the children just before me. The amount of traffic North Point will bring to the area will not be safe for any of us, as you've heard. Many have already mentioned the crumbling infrastructure surrounding Joliet. More trucks on local roads, poor locations, dangerous pollution, and health risks. Many of the taxing bodies surrounding the area also oppose North Point, including the school district and townships. Not to mention every single neighbor surrounding this project. Please reread the information that Aaron Gallagher wrote about Edgerton, Kansas City. And please stop the huge warehouses from being built around us. I urge you to vote no. Please say no to Compass and North Point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next caller, please.
Hello, this is Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please? Hello? Okay, him call back.
Next caller.
Hello, this is Mayor Odekirk. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
Hi, my name is Don Nitton. I live in Manhattan. We moved here over 15 years ago. We've always loved small towns where you know your neighbors, you frequent the same businesses, and you can see some stars at night. The little town has grown in some ways, but in other ways it's still the same. I know my neighbors here. I can walk my dog across town, and I like to sit out back from time to time and enjoy the silence. I can see folks that I know at the grocery, and I see my mayor usher at Mass every Sunday. But we know change has to come, and you can't slow progress. Things are always going to come bigger and faster. We do recognize that things have to move from one place to another. That's just how it is, especially in this new world where big box stores are old school. People love to shop from their homes now, and they have their stuff delivered to their doorstep. We've long watched the trains and the trucks going to and from, especially down Laraway. My son and I once stopped in the Food and Fuel there at 53 one Friday morning. When we went to leave, there were semis as far as the eye could see both directions. My son said he had never seen anything like it, and he lives in Chicago. It took us 5 minutes just to get out and clear the intersection. Now, we know that Compass Point isn't supposed to impact us like that, but we have to ask, just where are all those trucks going to go? If we have that many trucks already here, then where are the rest going to go? It's logical to assume they're going to want to avoid traffic like we do, and therefore it's also logical to assume Manhattan Road is a viable avenue to and from Compass Point for trucks heading north or east. And since Manhattan Road ends in a subdivision here in our town, that means you can only access it from Route 52. That means truck after truck driving through our little town, slowing traffic, blowing exhaust, and bottom line, greatly increasing the overall volume of vehicles in town with one single red light. When you add in that our roads were not built for this kind of traffic, you're writing a recipe for disaster. Have you seen the condition of our roads already? They weren't built to handle the weight of all these semis we have already. Imagine if you double, triple, or quadruple that. And we all know that some truckers have been cited in the past carrying too heavy loads, driving while impaired or else exhausted, trying to make deadlines. A semi accidentally runs a red light or takes a corner too hard, and an inexperienced teen driver is in the wrong place and reacts too slowly. It can happen. But we're not faulting the trucking industry. We need and appreciate the hard work the vast majority of those good folks do every day to get our precious goods to us. We just don't want and can't handle them so close to us. There appear to be many empty warehouses in the area already. Why aren't we using them? But if we must have more built, please consider building further in the country. We get that this location is close to 2 interstates, but it's also just too close to us. Please don't do this. Find another way, find another path, find a location that works for both Compass Point and Manhattan, Elwood, Joliet, and all the other neighborhoods that can't handle rumbling trucks day in and day out. I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Jamie is on the line.
Jamie, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please? Hello, Jamie.
I thought there was another person before me. I apologize.
That's okay.
My name is Jamie McLaren, and I live in Joliet. Do you want the full address?
Nope, go ahead.
I totally concur exactly with what the gentleman said before me. I do know the traffic for Joliet is pretty severe, and I actually work over in the trucking yard area, so I'm constantly driving between Larkin and Chicago Street to get to work, and I know that that's one of the busiest intersections. I'm sure that'll be affected by it as it's a trucking main route. Also, the pollution for Joliet in general is, from what I know, probably one of the worst in our area, considering we already have an oil refinery, waste management, and everything else. So anything that keeps the pollution down would make me and my neighbors and everybody else happy.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Daniel.
Good evening, Daniel. Can you please give your name, address, and comment?
Hi, my name is Dan, and I'm a Joliet taxpayer. I want to go on the record as strongly opposing North Point project, which would be disastrous for the safety and environment of our community, all for a very little financial benefit. I drive on I-80 and I-355 every day on my commute to work, and I pass dozens of warehouses that are vacant and are advertising space for lease, and yet there's still far too many trucks on the road that pose a significant safety threat. More concerning is trucks driving along the side roads through our communities. I live right on Manhattan Road, which by me is a small 2-lane road with a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. Yet I see dozens of trucks speeding excessively down this road daily. It already doesn't make a safe location to raise a young family without adding the North Point traffic. I want to urge you to listen to the countless callers before me who are so strongly opposed to North Point, and remind you that these are the people you represent. I've been to multiple previous North Point meetings that were held at appropriate times, such as not during a global pandemic, and find it ironic that the only supporters of this project are the apprentices who are paid to be there, who will surely not be found in our communities after the build-out, because warehouse jobs are a far cry from sustainable union jobs. The long-term jobs that North Point requires will do nothing but degrade our communities. So I ask that you please listen to the literally hundreds of callers that you represent who are against North Point and vote no. Surely you can find better options for our future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next caller is Barb.
Good evening, Barb. This is Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please? Hello, Barb.
Okay, we have Colleen on the line.
Hello, Colleen. This is Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
My name is Colleen Preboy from Elwood. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight on behalf of the Elwood Fire Protection District. Joliet City Council members, this proposed development threatens our safety and takes away our right to drive safely on our roadways. Driving north on Route 53 and Interstate 55 is a nightmare and an accident waiting to happen. When North Point proposed development in Elwood, we were able to show a presentation on horrific semi-accidents that have occurred throughout our fire protection district. Unfortunately, we are not able to give the Joliet City Council this visual. It would have given you all the opportunity to see what it's like to drive south of I-80 on Route 53 and on Interstate 55. Our first responders literally risk their lives to respond to these semi-accidents. Another thing we would like to point out is this annexation will remove another 8% of our district's taxable property. And yet the Elwood Fire Protection District will get most of the semi-traffic. This is not fair for Elwood residents who have to pay more for personnel, fire trucks, and ambulances to benefit North Point. We lose the property valuation to Joliet, and Elwood pays for the services. As a whole, Joliet has annexed up to 25%. Our message is clear. There's been an unprecedented loss of life, which is the result of traffic on roads that were never designed to handle thousands of semi-trucks and cars each day. No amount of money from North Point can make up for the people who have already lost their lives. The infrastructure has grossly exceeded its design capacity. Adding more truck traffic to these roadways will, without improvements, will result in catastrophic failure. It's a snowball effect of constant road repairs and lane closures. The lane closures cause more accidents, more road rage, and loss of residents' precious time getting north to the Joliet area for work, doctor appointments, grocery, restaurants, and most importantly, transporting patients to Admira St. Joe's Hospital and Silver Cross Hospital. Our greatest concern is the safety of all, not just Elwood residents. Please hear that. In ending, from one government body to another, please consider that your decisions affect all of us south of Joliet and demand more from North Point. Compass Business Park developers to address transportation safety, because we are not safe, nor do we feel safe driving on Route 53, I-80, or I-55. Please hold off on this vote and let's get together as neighboring public servants, not enemies, to see if there are solutions for all of our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Tom.
Hello, Tom. Can you state your name, address, and make your comment, please?
Barb Wilgoss, Manhattan. This is from my heart to yours because you have the facts and figures why no is the answer. I'm opposed to North Point, Compass Business Park, Eastgate, whatever you want to call this huge unnecessary project in this area. I have waited most of my life to move away from Chicago near Midway Airport. The noise, pollution, people crowded together, dirty politics. I found peace and quiet in Will County, the small towns near Joliet and all they have to offer. But it's not about me. It's about more. It's about all the surrounding communities, the citizens, especially the children, the historical landmarks, and precious natural resources in this area include. Volunteers work hard to preserve history and culture to pass on to all children and for all people to enjoy. Tax dollars are spent for our stake in future at places such as Abraham Lincoln Cemetery to honor our veterans, to preserve our histories in the Daywin, Tall Grass, and Bison Prairie, the jail restoration, Round Barn Farm, Elwood Children's Garden, Rialto, and so much more. We love, value, and are proud of our lives, our land, and our blessings. To the North Point, Compass Business Park, Eastgate, etc., President and team. Most citizens want to keep the trees we have, the bike paths, awesome back roads, the wide open spaces, the wildlife, the quiet, fresh air, and awesome sunset. We don't need to be surrounded by a concrete park with more signs, more traffic, more accidents, more congestion, more garbage, and a new bridge. This is the wrong project for this area, close to residents, farmland, city, and town treasures. This is the wrong project for this challenging time. Amid people suffering, dying, losing jobs, the economy in a mess, stores and factories closing, some forever. I can't understand how this project can be more important than the crisis we are in. We probably won't need more warehouses, commercial, retail, and office space for a long time to come. But we will need food. So I humbly ask you to be the good neighbor you want to be, to humbly pack your bags, click your heels, end this nightmare, and leave our communities alone. To the Honorable Mayor and City Council, what's your rush to pass this pre-annexation agreement, which seems like a blank check for the receiver, lacking details and unanswered questions? In your official capacity, your time, talent, efforts, and resources should be focused on the big picture. How the world is changing, how our area will change, serving and protecting your citizens and those around you. I feel you all are now overworked and stressed during this unprecedented and monumental time. This huge, unnecessary project will bring more headaches. I'm wondering how you all can be so certain about going forward at this time, in this time. Please concentrate on saving lives and livelihoods, not destroying them. Please vote no always on this project. If you don't, you will have forsaken your people, children, neighbors, and life as we know it. Thank you. Stay healthy and safe. And God bless us all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Tom, this is Mayor Odeker. Can you give your name, address, and comment, please?
Hi, my name is Tom White. I'm the Executive Director of the Three Rivers Construction Alliance based in Joliet. The Alliance is a labor management group. We represent 2 building trades councils, 3 contractors associations in 4 counties, including Will. The majority of our construction work with my contractors and trades occurs in and around the Joliet area. I apologize for being unable when you guys tried to contact me the first time. As you're aware, the governor has construction listed as essential workers, and my workload surely has not lightened even a little here. I want to first start by thanking you for finding a safe way to have everyone heard over this issue. I'm well aware that government of any level can't shut down and has to find a way to proceed in these unsure times. Based on the governor's comments for the summer, meetings like this may be the norm for 2020. I applaud you for moving forward, following the executive orders, and working to be business friendly. Before I get to my points, I will open by saying that I am in favor of the Compass Business Park at North Point. I urge the City Council to vote yes to this project and keep our workers going. I also want to thank the Mayor and City Council for allowing me to speak. I know when Councilman Hugg's timer goes off, I am going to get to go on. I have been working in this area on projects like this for over 20 years. I was involved with BNSF in Elwood, Union Pacific in Joliet, Ridge Properties in Wilmington, and many other logistics parks in the area. I have a hands-on understanding of this world. I have listened to a lot of discussion on traffic and people saying that stopping this project would help the situation. Let's evaluate this. The BNSF yard in Joliet averages over 900,000 lifts annually. The Union Pacific adds another 600,000 and is in the process of expanding now. Between the 2 yards, we get 1.5 million lifts a year. That number will jump to close to 2 million after the UP expansion is complete. Each lift generates 2 trips, one to take the container to the warehouse, 1 trip to bring back the empty. We won't discuss stopping for grain, scrap, and other stuff in the empties to take back to the yard. We are up to 3 million trips on the road and have not sent out a delivery truck to the store or final destination yet. Those 3 million trucks are going somewhere, period. Hopefully we can contain many in a logistics park that is attached to the rail yard. A project like this with a closed loop configuration will keep those 2 trips contained inside a logistics park and limit the trucks on our roads. I agree that the truck traffic has grown over the years and we need to do something. If the callers, all these callers that have been calling in against this project truly cared about Route 53, I-55, and 80, this is the only logical answer. You're choosing an alternative. I'm sure the surrounding communities would be happy to build these warehouses. Joliet gets all the traffic, others get all the revenue. The industrial parks located outside the intermodal are what creates traffic jams. Time to do the right thing and save our roads. My organization is also responsible for doing the project labor agreements in the 4 counties we represent. I have had a signed agreement with North Point since August 3rd of 2017. It is customary for me to do agreements like this early in the process. Many speakers talked about Texas, Michigan, and Kansas City union issues. All of these areas have the same thing in common. No project agreements, lower union density, 50% or less, and all are right to work states. This is not the case in the area we live in. A lot of speakers have commented on our work, saying we should go after better, more permanent jobs. A permanent, never-ending construction job. I don't think I've ever encountered that beast. Construction job range from months to years. All jobs have value to our union members and contractors. One other statement made was time to construct a warehouse. Yes, we can get the walls up relatively quick, but the interior build-out is including office space, conveyor systems, racking. That could take 3 to 4 times longer than putting up the walls. And yes, interior build-outs are fully covered by our PLA. A statement was made last night about
I believe that's our last caller.
Okay. All right.
Mayor, just before you close,
Yeah.
close the hearing, I just want to report that I've been monitoring the public comment inbox,
Yes.
and occasionally over the past,
Maybe step up to the podium.
so I've been,
Podium?
yeah, so what I've been doing is monitoring it, and as if callers miss their call, they'll respond back. So right now that inbox is empty.
Okay.
So.
Good, thank you. All right, so I know there's questions for North Point, and I think for staff, but like I said, I would prefer if we hold off tonight, kind of digest this and organize what we want to ask and say tomorrow.
Mayor, I'd agree. You know what, this also gives us a chance overnight and tomorrow morning during the day, if there are any people that weren't available for the calls, anybody that wants to give us an email, we're going to get them.
Okay.
So we can digest it, we can, continue to consider our final deliberations, and this is the last opportunity for communication.
What does the rest of the council think?
So I guess what I was saying is, as far as the public hearing, the oral portion goes, you can still submit comments.
Should we end the public hearing tonight?
So we
Close
can,
it tonight?
we can close the public hearing tonight because we have all those that have registered to speak have spoken.
Okay.
But then continue the meeting for tomorrow evening to discuss the resolution.
And just so council knows, I've already sent out, I think, 12 batches now, so if you have not gotten them, let me know and I can send them, but
Okay.
I've got 12 batches of comments.
All right, question. So I understand here. We're concluding the hearing,
The public hearing
public
portion.
hearing, and reconvening tomorrow. Is that okay with the other
They said yes
council?
earlier.
Okay, I didn't hear that. And also, what if there's other questions and things that come, like if we get emails and someone wants a question answered?
Send them to public comment.
They can send out a public comment?
Send it to the public comment, and we'll work it on that way.
Okay.
So if anybody has any last minute comments, if anybody has any last minute comments, send them in. Like we said, we try to have those sent in early so you have a chance to review them. I think there's 2 or 3 in there right now that'll be sent out. We'll send those out in the morning. Those are ones that we've gotten in the past hour, say. 2
And
hours.
then tomorrow we'll be able to ask Centerpoint questions?
North Point.
I mean, North Point,
It's
sorry.
not Center Point here.
I know, sorry, apologize. North Point questions, yes.
I think they're going. The plan is to have them available for questions.
All right, so 5:30 tomorrow, we reconvene?
You got to close the public hearing.
Okay.
Okay, so let the record show that the public hearing is now closed.
The oral portion of the public hearing.
Let me clarify that the oral portion of the public hearing is now closed. We will continue to forward any emails that were received at the public comment at joliet.gov email address. So then we would need a motion to suspend the meeting and continue it to April 17th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m.
So move.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Dickinson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Turk.
Aye.
Motion carried. The meeting is continued to tomorrow, which is April 17th, 2020 at 5:30 PM.